Put your wands up. Our next guest is best known as Ginny Weasley from Harry Potter. Get ready for a panel of behind-the-scenes stories. How you can help the world and learn what it's like growing up in the wizarding world. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands, your wands, and everything else in the air and clap for Bonnie Wright.
Walking down the aisle. That was strange, but nice to see everyone.
It's like, why am I going down the aisle like this?
I need to be in a Harry Potter movie. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I usually just walk in the room quietly, but it's lovely to have all the excitement and lovely to be here with you all.
Idaho, you excited?
Well, awesome. So
let's get into this.
Let's get right into it. So before we get into your story and everything about you, we have a segment on our show called Growing Up Geeky. Right? What did you geek out on when you were a kid?
Ooh, I basically used to like anything my brother liked. He was a few years older than me, and he was into Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon, so I was into it too. He's actually he's basically the reason why I went to audition for Harry Potter, because he had started reading the Harry Potter books. So literally, whatever he geeked out, I literally did too. So thanks to him, he geeked out on Harry Potter, so I did too. And honestly, I still have the same, everything. He has good taste, let's just say. What else did I...
You should be at this con. Dragon
I
Ball Z,
I know.
Have you met any of the Dragon Ball actors yet?
No,
there's a few of them here.
You know what? I have, but I forget which one. It was a long time ago. And I literally was like, me and my brother used to love, do the whole.
Because Pan, Deborah, Frieza, they're all here right now.
Yes, and then when my brother and I went with my mum when I must have been 8 maybe, and we went to Japan, and my brother bought this Pokemon set, and it wasn't really a thing then. I mean, it was there. And I remember being like, why is he obsessing over these weird figures? And then it obviously became a pretty popular show. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I still do. We should all just continue to geek out on things until the end of our days.
I think that's why we're all here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, real quick, before Harry Potter, you kind of mentioned reading the books. Did you always want to be an actor? What did you know about the books before you auditioned for the role?
Well, I definitely didn't really want to be anything at 9 years old, but everything. I feel like every hour you have a new dream, which is what's cool about being a kid. You're like, today I want to be, firefighter. Tomorrow I want to be a fairy. I don't know.
I want to be a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it was more, I think what probably got me the role was just I was a kid that loved to show up and take part. I was very passionate and wanted to try every new experience, and I felt like at that age you're not too self-aware of yourself. You're just showing up as you are. And that's probably what kind of got me the role. And then, so it was, like I say, my brother, but I did read the first book before I went to the first audition. And just like everyone, I was hooked in and wanted to read all of them, all the ones we had at that moment. And then, just like everyone else, always got that first book. Each book as they came out, went to the bookshop and got my copy the day it came out. And my whole family would read it. We'd each have our own copy, and I was the slowest reader of the family, so I would take a while to actually finish the story.
So
that's awesome.
As the books came out and you're reading the books and knowing that you were Ginny Weasley, were you going the bigger her role got, where you're like, oh my God, this is just going to become overwhelming for me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was I was reading it with two minds. I was reading it as a fan and wanting to understand the fate of everyone's character in the storyline. But obviously, inevitably, anytime Ginny came up or the Weasleys, I was like, oh, what's going to happen? It was always that worrying and hoping that everything is good for that family and for us. It was always, I never knew that that's the evolution of Ginny would happen in the way it did. So it was also its complete mix of excitement and being overwhelmed and nervous to sort of do that character justice and everything justice, which is the same I would say for all of us, really, it became obviously bigger and bigger as the series went on.
That's awesome. So I love the behind the scenes stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about like the filming process, especially what you were 9?
Yes.
What's it like being 9 and like a decade of your life in this role?
Yeah, I mean, I knew absolutely nothing when I stepped onto the set. Like, I didn't know what action meant, cut meant, why a light was facing a certain way, why they said certain things. I'm very grateful to Julie Walters, who played, obviously, Molly Weasley, who I think literally saw I looked lost and was like, okay, you come with me, I'll show you what's up. So I feel like, honestly, the first scene, I'm literally not even acting. I'm just looking like bewildered as I was, which I think was fitting for the scene, so it's fine. But yeah, as the series developed, it was like, you know, acting school and also filmmaking school. Like, I was a very curious child and teenager, and I always was really fascinated with not just the acting side of things, but like everything. Like, I was really interested in the whole world building that you had to do to create a world as magical as that, and how every single department within a, you know, film production has a real role in creating that world and suspending that disbelief that we live in this like magical world. So, you know, it really, when I went to university, I went to film school. I didn't go to drama school. I studied film school. So I was very, very completely changed by the experience, in the sense that I just wanted to tell stories like this kind of forever.
That's awesome. And how did you go to school? Assumed you all went to school on set?
Yes, we did. Yeah, it was quite crazy. You'd be like, I don't know, learning something, and then you're like, okay, now I got to go to the Great Hall and do this. So that was fun.
Wait, you studied in the Great Hall?
No, I mean, like, we wouldn't get anything done, I don't think, if we did that. No, we were just in little classrooms. But yeah, you had to do like so many hours a week of school, and you know, you could only work so many hours, which is why the films took us like 8-9 months to film. Which I think all the older adult actors were like, this is great. We have short days, lots of breaks. But for us, it was quite a jam-packed day, honestly. I mean, even just the 9.5 hours you could be at work, so to speak. You had to do so many hours of school. But it was fun. I mean, as you grew up, like as school gets different, I mean, our schooling system is like a little bit different in the UK, in the sense that you start like dropping off subjects quite early on. So by the time you're like 18, you only are doing like 3 or 4 subjects. So it became like very specific, which sometimes becomes a little more challenging, because like what you're needing from that tuition, you have to be basically very, very independent, forthcoming to like get that work done. And so in the final film, I'd already started my first year at college. And I was like, oh, I got to keep up with everything. I don't want to get behind, you know. And I'd go to my professors, and they're like, you need to relax. Like, you've literally probably come to more things than most, like, first-year college students. Like, pretty much everyone's just, like, maybe hungover. Like, it's okay. I was like, okay. I just had that innate, like, I need to catch up and not get behind feeling. So that was a good, like, okay.
Well, probably from film. Like, you have to be
I had to get everything done. But I'm pleased that they supported us in our education, so that, you know, I did choose to, you know, go through college. That was kind of important to me. I think not that everyone should and needs to go to college. Everyone's so different. But to me, I was pleased that I was able to continue that.
Awesome. That's great. So you mentioned going to school on set. So of your castmates or classmates, who do you keep up with the most, and who's the most chatty?
Who's the most chatty? I can probably be quite chatty. Matthew Lewis is very chatty. Neville, which you wouldn't think.
He's too busy
James
having
and
abs.
Oliver are also very chatty.
Yeah, he's
but I
just
don't know,
too busy
all of us
being
are kind of like, all of us have both sides, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're in a room together and you haven't seen each other, but then if we do these things together, often, obviously, you're meeting so many people that you also respect that, like, you might need, like, 30 minutes of, like, not talking to anyone to, like, recharge your battery. So, yeah, it's got to that point where we know each other so well and have been through so many different unique experiences together. It's that, like, nice flow that you have with people that you are, like, really close with. So, yeah, I love that there's so many experiences that we keep getting to do through the world of Harry Potter, and just how yeah, you just meet like 7-year-olds now, and they're like in it like it's today that the movies are coming out. Like it just feels so.
30-year-olds.
No, I mean like the new generations.
I got you.
I'm saying it goes to, I like how many generations now have been through it. I don't know. We could probably figure that out with some counting. But yeah, it's just so cool that it's still loved and it brings a lot of people joy, and it gets, it means something very specific and special to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true, so true. And that goes for so many fandoms. Like, I grew up on Star Wars, and it's the same sort of thing. It's nice watching my kids and the next generation kind of grow up with their own version of Star Wars of
For
what
sure,
they love.
yeah.
So yeah. So that was Harry Potter. Do you have a favorite role outside, or maybe a project where you're like, hey everybody, you know me, as Ginny Weasley, but go check out this other project I did?
Yeah, sure. Well, second to storytelling and magical worlds, I also deeply, deeply passionate and care for our environment. I mean, we all should. We live here. Right. And so I wrote a book on this called Go Gently. And it basically looks at our day-to-day life and how we can connect to these like wider issues to feel a bit more connected and in control and in sort of understanding rather than getting lost in a world of statistics and facts. And I also just made a TV show that's coming out in July that's also called Go Gently. And it follows me and my co-host on a road trip from Los Angeles to Portland, visiting different people in their very local, communities, taking action for, issues that they're facing in their environment. So it's a very sort of like local, feel-good story, kind of amplifying the work that people are out there doing. And yeah, I'm very excited. It's something that I sort of like creatively produced and everything, and it comes out, in the summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Giving back to the community.
And I was going to say, I mean, you've done a lot of good with the platform that you've had, because not only just obviously the book, but then the activism you've done, your environmentalism that you've been involved in, working with Greenpeace. I mean, those are all huge steps that not everybody does. And me personally, I have a huge respect for that. But I mean, that's definitely a platform that we want to push out there along with the book as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
The book is called Go Gently, Actionable Steps to Nurture Yourself and the Planet. And what I like about it is it's like, it doesn't have to be these huge major steps. It could just be the small steps. I think I saw one interview you did where you're like, think about that tomato that you're buying at the grocery store and like what it took to get into your hands. Is it the best sourced tomato? I live in California. So it's like, is it locally sourced? Did you get it somewhere that was local, that sort of thing, and the best ethical way for that tomato to get into your hands? Not that I like tomatoes, but
What do you like?
But we're in Idaho, potatoes.
yeah, potatoes. Hey, there you go. There you go.
Remember-
My mum and I think like many English people like potatoes too, all across the UK and Ireland. So my mum's like, have you had any potatoes yet? I was like, you know what? I had some potato chips, but I need to get an actual
Remember,
roasted potato.
McDonald's is locally sourced here.
There you go. Might not be just potatoes, in there. There might be some
There
other
you go.
things.
Did you get the goodie bag of?
That's where I had my potato chips. Yeah.
There you go. I think last year there might have been like a potato candy bar or something like that. Like,
Oh.
The Spud.
Yeah, I have that
Where's
in
that
my bag.
Spud?
Okay.
Do you recommend the Spud bar?
Okay, good.
I think
I'll
it's mostly
have that.
marshmallow.
When we
but-
finish, I'll eat that. But I do need like a fresh potato, I mean, not raw, but like I need a
I mean, hey, I don't know what they do in England.
Yeah.
That's fine. Where were we? Back to seriousness. You had the ability to go from acting to getting a degree in filmmaking to becoming a screenwriter and directing. What has your favorite role, or not role as in an actor, but like role as a filmmaker?
Yeah, like what space within filmmaking is your favorite role to be in?
Front of the camera, behind the camera?
Oh, I definitely, probably behind the camera. Although in this TV show that I was just mentioning, Go Gently, I'm like co-presenting the show. So that was like a whole new world for me in the sense that I'm in front of the camera, but as myself, which was really nice. But yeah, I love being behind the camera. I love being really part of the crew. And I really loved when from film school to like graduating and continuing my projects, like I've always worked in very small scale independent productions, and to me that's felt very authentically good to me. And you're very collaborative with people, you're working really closely with people, like people's roles don't have to be so rigid, they can kind of be a little bit more fluid, and you can kind of cross over and do different roles if you want to. It doesn't have to be so like that's your department, you can't touch this one. So I really love that. I think it makes people, you know, step up to their creativity and like just
together.
get stuff made. And usually, you know, you're only going to really love the work if you're doing that, I think. So I've always loved that, and just had, you know, from different ideas. I mean, mainly I've only done like short films, music videos, and like the odd commercial. So yeah, I don't know, it's always just fun. Every project has a unique experience, and I've managed to work with some really cool like people my age doing those things, or managed to cast some good actors in them.
Nice.
That's awesome. And you've seen the biggest of big productions, and
Yes,
down
quite
to like the smallest set.
quite a
smallest set of
different
crew.
spectrum of
Yeah.
$1 million a day shoot, and
Exactly.
maybe yeah.
Especially when you go and like start doing your own film sets and
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, oh man, I didn't realize it's crazy.
For sure. I think the beauty of like having a back to front career, so to speak, is that I was really exposed to the people who were really in the top of their field in their departments, and the kind of like attention to their craft and how good they were at things created this really like great high just like quality to sort of like strive towards, because I think you can still have that same work ethic on like a smaller production and that attention to detail. So it definitely was a good like aspirational beginning.
Awesome. Hey, let's get some QA going. So if you have a question, come up to the front. We'll get you.
We need Rachel right up to the front real quick though, just because Rachel's going to be
But real quick,
presenting
I
something
do
here.
have a quick question. So being on set, do you have like a behind the scenes moment, experience, or memory that sticks out to you? Like, I was trying to think like the last time you were all going to be on set together.
Yeah. It's hard to find one of a 10 years experience. But I mean, I guess my fondest scenes were always in the Burrows, the Weasley house. If I could just like sit there for another hour, that would just be like a nice place to go and chill. But yeah, I mean, when we filmed the last scene, that was actually the last scene that you see, it was just so surreal, because you're like, is this really it? You know, just like never actually sunk in till like a year later when you're like, oh yeah, we're not going back to do that. It was like just part of your year. So yeah.
The final scene being the scene of you guys on the platform and they aged you up 10 years?
When we look like we're 30 years older than we're meant to be.
Which,
I was
which
like,
funny,
God, I hope I don't look like that with 3 children in the future.
what's funny about that, like actually funny about that, is you look younger now than you did when they
Thank
did
you,
that.
I appreciate that. That's it. I only had one child, so we'll see. You know,
It's like
what I look
they made you 30 in that, and it's like,
I
yeah,
know.
no, she's older now than she was supposed to be then, and she looks younger now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Although I think if it was 19 years later and they finish at 18, I'm still not almost there. But
Okay.
we'll see.
It's those English
We'll
potatoes.
see.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Keeps you
Has
young.
all that, you know, magic collagen in potatoes. It doesn't. They
There it
don't have
is.
them.
Rachel, go ahead.
2 things for you. What house are you in real life?
Oh, you know, I'm a Gryffindor too. So it's meant to be.
And also,
Stealing my
I have a
jokes.
potato pin to present to you. Would you like it?
I would love it. Yes, please. Thank
We
you.
like potatoes too, Rachel.
She gave us these.
Oh, and it says Idaho. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome, Rachel. Thanks.
Oh,
Hi. I was just wondering, like, what scene or what moment did you have your, like, aha, like, I'm a wizard?
Oh, that's a good one. I guess the Chamber of Secrets, when I finally like put my robes on and I'm like, I'm here, I've arrived at Hogwarts. Yeah, I feel like just the Great Hall. Because, you know, obviously everyone had experienced being in the Great Hall by the time I was filming the second film, being the year younger. So I feel like I was just having my own quiet, like, oh my gosh, whereas everyone had had that like the year before. So yeah, I feel like honestly just being in the Great Hall, like hearing the first Dumbledore speech, and you're just like, yeah.
I know that Daniel Radcliffe went through a lot of wands. And,
Yes.
did you go through a lot of wands?
No, I looked after my wands very well. I don't think I don't think I damaged any wands. Yes.
Okay. And then just happy late Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Oh, that was good.
Hi. I only have one question. What advice would you give to people who want to become actors, specifically young people?
Oh, yeah, good question. A hard question because there's so many different things. But I would say the best thing to do with, I feel like any passion is to like find the community to do it within. Particularly as acting, you really need to have each other to act with. So I feel like firstly, just really belonging to a community, whether that's like a theater group or a drama club or like some sort of way that you can like be together. Because I think it can be like so many things, if we do them like solo at home, they can feel like more overwhelming than they really are. So I think just like really take part and see if you can like be in even multiple communities maybe of acting. And if you want to get into film, I would say often until you maybe get an audition, you maybe never seen like what a script looks like, but you can actually read loads and loads of scripts online. Like say you have a favorite movie, download that script and read it and familiarize yourself with like how scripts are written differently to like how a play is written, and see sometimes there's not much on a script page. So it just shows you when it comes to an audition, you've really got to like use your imagination to you decide to visualize how you should read that scene. Whereas when you read a play, often, I don't know, they're just very different. So like try and read the different like mediums of plays and films. And I don't know, just have fun with it. I think it can all be quite overwhelming and serious. And I feel like, yeah, just have fun. And I think you've got to be okay with allowing things to, like, I don't know, there's so many people who want to do it, and that's great. And I think just always check in with yourself that you're enjoying it, because sometimes it can feel challenging. And that's where community comes in the sense that you can like just be around each other and share the experience.
Thank you.
Thanks, your question.
Good question.
Hello, as
Hello.
a former child actor,
Okay.
which of the adult actors did you learn the most from, and what did you learn?
Ooh, I couldn't really pick one, honestly, because they were all just brilliantly good. I mean, I feel like I learned most in the scenes where there were the most of them in it, if that made sense, because the most you learned was them acting with each other. And I feel like the best scenes were when I happened to be in something where I kind of was not necessarily like a pivotal part of that scene myself, but I could just sit and sort of like stare and watch. And just seeing how they would kind of like work dynamically with each other, read off each other, see how one's gonna play it and change how they're gonna do it. And I think for the characters who were particularly like strong, kind of overwhelming characters, how they weren't afraid to like take over a scene because that is what their character was doing. So just seeing that kind of place that they went to that was very in character without needing to be like, you know, intensely method. It was just like they weren't apologetic, you know, they just kind of came in and did their thing in a confident way, which I think when you're young and a teenager, you're kind of like, you're the opposite. So it was good to like be inspired by that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, what would you say is your favorite, like, piece that you got off the set, like once filming was done, that you got to take home with you, or like your
Like
favorite,
what you steal? Is that-
You know, I didn't.
What did you steal from set?
There are
You
many
didn't have
people that did, and I did not.
Is
God,
there
I
a-
didn't get the memo. I should have like got onto it quicker. You know what? I kid you not. I literally have not one thing. So I just have to go and see them in the exhibitions and the museums. But what I would have loved to have taken, honestly, would have probably just been like my Gryffindor robes, like something super basic, like that I spent hundreds of days in, or you know, a great Weasley knit corduroy something, you know, something that Molly made. But yeah, I actually don't have anything.
do you have a favorite piece of like Harry Potter memorabilia?
Ooh, I guess I love the clock in the Weasley house, you know, that shows where everyone is. That would be pretty cool. Way cooler than like air tags or whatever we're with now. That would be way more fun. And it would be maybe less creepy than the way that we track things these days. I feel like that's a bit more like beautiful and poetic, you know? So I would take a clock. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, let's get one more question, then you can come on up. and then we'll do some rapid fire questions, and then come back.
We'll come back to Q&A. So we have another section for Q&A, guys.
I'm an aspiring young actress, and I just wanted to ask, what's the best thing and the worst thing about being an actress?
Oh, that is a hard question. The best thing, I think, is just being on set when the project finally comes and you're there and you're doing it and it's happening, because so much of like loads of work can be all about like the lead up, but the actual percent of your time in your career you can spend doing like the bit you love the most can sometimes feel tiny. So I think when you're just actually there and the cameras are rolling and you're with everyone and you're just like, the whole world just kind of melts away, and that sort of presence. And the worst part, I mean, honestly, I don't actually act anymore, so maybe that's hard to remember. Because it is a challenging place to be, you know? I think there's so many roles, and it's hard to like go for things and to be passionate. And for me, that's why I got into the filmmaking side of things, because I was too impatient and I like to have my hands in loads of pies. But I guess it's just challenging to, you know, when you've finished your day's work and you leave, you're not in control of like how your performance comes to the screen. You've really got to entrust the production and the editors and the post-production to bring that to life. And it is very, very surreal, I think, to sort of do your piece, walk away, and then not see the project for months later. And so that's always quite hard to kind of like walk into the screening of a film and kind of not know really what, you know, how your character is going to have come to life in that film. So that's always hard, that kind of like faith you've got to have in, you know, what you did that day being the best, and you feel proud of that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, you hang out right there so we can keep the same order. But let's do some rapid fire questions.
We got some fun. We got some fun things to ask you here. So, what would be a dream role or franchise to be a part of?
Well,
Can't
honestly,
say Harry Potter.
No. I think I did that one. I'm like the millionth person that's reading and a bit slow to the story, but I'm on the 5th Court of Thorn and Roses series, bit late to the series, but I would honestly, like that production is probably, I mean, they're obviously gonna make them into films, I'm assuming. And I just like wanna be just like, I could just be anyone. I could just be a production assistant, just watching it happen. Like I would just love to see,
be a part, though.
just to like watch how they're gonna like bring that to life, like, or even just being in like the production, like the sort of like production design, like the set design. I think would be really fun for that series, like the realms that they create. You know, I think would be cool.
That's good. That's awesome. All right, great debate. Do you prefer coffee or tea or potato?
Oh, you know what? I can't. The English in me needs to say tea, but like I just like coffee, you know? But I could drink more tea than coffee. But it's not, I would go for caffeine over a potato, I must admit.
That's good. Who would you like the most sit next to on a 10-hour flight? Now, when I say this, the idea is you have 10 hours on this flight, you have one person to talk to, dead or alive, they can come back for one day. Who's the one person you would want to talk to?
I feel like I'd want to sit like, it's not like I would want to sit like next to my son, but not in his age now because it's quite challenging on a plane. But like maybe like him as my age now.
Oh, wow.
That would be cool.
Such a good answer.
Yeah. I don't need like a 20-month-old on the plane. That's pretty So yeah.
That may be the most profound answer I've ever gotten on this.
Yeah, some people say Jesus, but like sitting next to your son when you're age,
We've ranged. Like we've gotten from like, you know, filmmakers to, you know, I want to talk to Jimi Hendrix to, you know, I've never heard somebody say my adult son who is now 20 months old.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The philosophy behind that is just, my mind was blown. All right.
That's great. Okay, next one. James and Oliver Phelps, a.k.a. the Weasley twins. which is your least favorite and why?
No! Oh my God, no. Never. It's like
Fighting
no.
the war of your brothers.
That's an unanswerable question.
All right, I guess we'll get back to Q&A.
we tried to rage bait, but I mean, all right, last one here. If you were a superhero or a villain, whichever one, because we all know villains are more fun to play. Which one would you be, and what ordinary task would frustrate the living hell out of you?
Ordinary task.
Ordinary task, just being a superhero. What ordinary task would frustrate you?
Probably getting dressed in the morning because you're like, okay, got to do this another day, got to be a cruel person. And I feel like most great villains have like great aesthetic looks, you know, whether it's their costume or their like prosthetic, like if you're talking about films, like some mystical, magical makeup. I don't know, it's probably quite a like performance just getting ready in the morning. So that would be long. I would need lots of cups of coffee, maybe and tea.
Nice.
And a potato.
So I gotta ask this: your superhero or villain, would they have super strength?
Super strength. I mean, does that also come under like superpowers, like magic?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
it would they would be magical, yes.
They'd be magical. Okay. The reason I ask is because like the ordinary task being like just getting dressed in the morning. How many shirts are you ripping? Just trying to put a shirt on.
Oh, like if they would use magic to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess some of it they wake up like that, right? I mean, they're gonna have to. Well, it depends if we're talking about playing that role.
No,
or
saying
being
if
that
you
role.
were a superhero.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'd be the villain over the superhero, I think.
Okay.
Because that would be the hardest morning to wake up, you know, just like the hangover of just being like, not like, I mean, just like character hangover of like being that person. It's like a heavy burden. They've clearly got some like deep rooted like things that they haven't worked through. That's
I
meant
gotta
that
kill
they are a
Superman.
villain.
I gotta try to
So,
kill
like,
Superman
every morning
again.
you'd probably wake up like not liking yourself,
Right.
right? So that would be a lot.
Like, another day of trying to kill Doctor Who
Yeah.
again.
All right, last question. What are you nerding out on these days?
Well, as I just said, I'm on the 5th Court of Thorn and Roses. I did that thing where like you're nearing the end of a book, and I was on the plane here, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop reading because then I'll get to the end of the book, and then I'd be like, the end. You know, you ever get like that? I'm sure we all got like that with Harry Potter. Like, I don't want it to end.
Peak ADHD.
So I'm on page like 600 of that. So then I'll have to find something else.
Oh my goodness.
So if you have any suggestions,
We need suggestions,
that's what
everybody.
I need after that.
Come on up. You got a question? You gotta have a book suggestion too. Don't let her down.
Yes, I need books. I need page turner books because I'm reading at the end of putting my son
Skull
to
and
sleep,
Bones.
and I'm tired. You know.
That's fair. I don't really have any book recommendations. I do want to say I'm a Gryffindor as well. Go Gryffindors.
Go Gryffindor. 10 points.
But with you on set with all of the other Weasleys, it just seems so natural with you guys. And now that you've been away from the franchise for so long, obviously the twins are in each other's lives. But are you communicating with any of your other on-screen siblings or parents?
Yeah, we get to see each other, either
to
at
bake.
events like this.
You get to bake together.
We get to bake. I didn't get to bake. I just got to judge the baking. But if they want me to bake, I will bake. But yeah, that was fun. I mean, never did I ever think we were going to have a Harry Potter themed baking show. I mean, that was never the like hybrid thing I thought was going to happen. And I love baking, so it was a very good phone call to be asked to do that. So that was fun. And I was also in the TV show they made. I was a guest on their show, which again, it's them stepping in front of the camera for the first time, being more of a presenter. So that was really fun, and just having the adventure of traveling to Iceland, which we did for the episode of that. And yeah, I feel like for everyone, it's just been so cool to like see everyone's new chapter and seeing them like thrive in their own way of their next thing. That inherently feels like really good for them and who they are now. Like, I think we've all had moments like everyone does in their 20s when you're like, who am I? What am I doing? And then you can begin to be like, okay, I think this is my like flow of work. So it's been just really nice, not only my Weasley family, but to see everyone just really kind of settling into like what feels like their true calling.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Come on up. How are you?
So I heard that a lot of the kids were scared of the professor, so were you scared of anyone?
Oh, I feel like I mean, some characters that obviously like we were meant to be scared of, like Snape, for instance. I think Alan had like good fun knowing that he had that effect on people. Like I think he did it in like a playful, really loving way, in the sense that he would kind of come up to you and be like, hello, good morning. And you'd be like, oh my God. And then he'd be like, hey. And then he'd just like switch that voice. But for a minute, he like, I think it probably helped him too, like helped his performance by just kind of like being playful with us. So that was always fun and took me like quite a few years to be like, oh, it's like, that's not him. You know, that's not, that's, so that was a good learning curve. And honestly, like, Ray Fiennes' performance as Voldemort is so good that to be in a scene next to him is truly terrifying. Like even by Deathly Hallows Part 2, I was still like, you are actually terrifying. Like I remember the scene that happens in like the courtyard of Hogwarts when we think Harry's kind of died and Ginny has that moment when she kind of runs towards him and he's kind of giving this whole speech. Like I just remember just being fully chilled by his performance.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Was it Ray that was scary, or was it the fact that he had no nose that was scary?
Well, actually, they didn't do. He did. That was done. They didn't make a no-nose prosthetics because that would be quite hard to remove the nose. Yeah. So he had loads of like dots on his face, then like scanned. They did it afterwards, basically. So he had a nose.
Special effects, bro. You don't.
Yeah,
man.
you know, magic.
What's your question?
Magic.
What was the scariest thing that you had to face during filming?
Oh, that's a good one. I think like scary in terms of like performance was probably the Chamber of Secrets because I was still very young, but I was like the whole Tom Riddle diary, sort of like possessed by the diary. It was actually quite an intense thing for like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old to do. So that was quite intense. And we did so many of these scenes that were kind of like B-roll moments of Ginny sort of like overtaken, and then they edited them as a quick kind of montage. We filmed like a lot more than you actually see in the film. And I remember there was just some like weird scenes that we did. Like, for instance, obviously she writes all the signs in blood, you know, like enemy of the air, beware and stuff. So they never showed this, which is probably a good thing. But they had a scene where I like go into like the Hogwarts chicken coop and essentially like kill a chicken to get the blood to write on the walls. Whoa. And surprisingly, they never put that in the movie, but I did film that. I mean, granted, it was a very, no, okay, wait. Backtrack. It was very like wide shot, me walking in. It wasn't like me actually killing a chicken, just so you know.
No chicken.
That would have been traumatized.
No animals were harmed.
It would have been the most traumatizing thing
but
ever.
But it was like snowing, and then we're like, okay, I think we've done that scene. Moving on. So I don't know whose idea that, but I remember being like, this is kind of dark. But so that, in a sense of character, was challenging. But then sometimes the simplest, kind of more upbeat scenes could be challenging in the sense that you were having, you know, this real dramatic moment. You had to kind of really step up to the performance and the character, and that was always sometimes really overwhelming because on a set there were hundreds of people, you know, behind the camera and in front of the camera. So the energy on the set every day felt very, you know, intense. So some days you kind of it didn't mind you, and then other days it kind of caught you by surprise and you could get quite nervous.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, we got to jam through these. We got to get back to signing autographs.
Hi.
Not me, Bonnie.
Hi.
I wish it was me. No.
Okay, first off, I've got a book suggestion. Alcatraz versus Evil Librarians by Brandon Sanderson. Very good series.
Okay.
Yes, you got to check that one out.
That's a mouthful to remember. I will. Alcatraz against the library.
Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians.
The Evil Librarian.
Yes,
Okay.
you got to check it out. Okay.
You might have to stop by her table with that one.
What?
You might have to stop by her desk, her table with one.
Oh, I
and write it down for her.
am. And then I've got two questions. So if you were living in the wizarding world, what career would you go for?
Yep. Great. Oh, okay.
Sure,
I was waiting for the. I'll answer that one. You know what? Two sides of me. One, aspirationally, I want to be an aura, but like more realistically, you know the tents that the Weasleys have when they go to the Quidditch World Cup. Mm-hmm. I want to make those tents, so like those magical tents that you walk into and you have this like epic. Like I would like one of those, so I would like to like have a outdoor outfitters like selling those.
So you want to do like charms?
Yeah, charms on, just like, I love to go camping and be outdoors, so I'm like, if I could have that would be great. So I need to be the person that makes, those available for all.
Okay.
Awesome,
And then,
thank you. Oh, go ahead.
my second question was, what are your thoughts on the new TV show that's going to be made?
I know, I'm going to be like you, just watching it. I'm excited to see. I just feel like with a series, you have like probably 10 hours in one season. So I just hope, like for all of us, we get all these themes that we didn't get to put in a 2-hour-long movie.
God, they left so much out.
I know, they
Oh
did.
my gosh, I'm
Watch
so
out,
It
excited.
had to be a
chickens.
hero's journey. It was
out,
Harry's
chickens.
story. But I hope, like lots of TV, it becomes more an ensemble. So I'm going to be just like you, watching it on my couch at home.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We got to jam through these, so you guys got to ask away.
Well, kind of related to that last one. Are there any scenes from the books that wasn't in the movies that you would have liked to have either done or have been put in?
So many. From Ginny's perspective, Quidditch, obviously, as you're in your Quidditch outfit. Lots of Quidditch would make more sense for her. And just the development of her and Harry's relationship. And then there were so many things, too, that obviously my character wasn't involved in. And so when we watched the film for the first time, that was honestly the most fun thing. Like, watching all these scenes that you weren't at all privy to, but loved as a fan of the books. So there were some scenes that I would have loved to have just watched and seen as from a just story perspective. But there's so much. I honestly haven't also, I'll admit, read the books since we were making the films. So I'm sure if I reread them, so much would flood through. So yeah.
Just real quick, what is your Quidditch position?
I think I would like to be a seeker, because it's pretty. Obviously you get pretty attacked as well, but the rest of the game is also pretty violent and intense. I don't really know if I need to be a beater or maybe a chase. I don't know. Probably just a seeker, but there'd be a lot of pressure, But that would be fun. What about your position?
Keeper.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
That's what I played for soccer, so.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Nice, thanks.
My question is, if out of all the Weasley brothers, which would you like to have as a real brother?
Oh, look at you.
I can't decide. It's like I was asked earlier. Can I have them all in just one person? It would be also a lot having that many brothers as a little sister. That would be. I'm sure there are many days where she didn't like any of them, honestly. I don't know. I guess Ron? Yeah, I think I would choose Ron. That's the obvious answer, so I'm going to choose Ron. But thank you for your question.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, last question. Here we go.
My tall mom was wondering if there were any tall jokes made with you being slightly taller than Daniel. And which one was her favorite?
I didn't really get any jokes, honestly. I feel like, so what's that fine line of joking and bullying, you know what I mean? I feel like we can all make up for it. Everyone makes up for it in their personality, so I don't know. We were basically the exact same height, give or take. Maybe I was an inch or a half an inch taller. And I'm not obviously, I'm quite average in my height. So nothing really. It's not like Ginny ever wore heels, so nothing became abnormally strange. So I didn't really get that many jokes. I hope he didn't in other times, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
So we're gonna do some wrap-up questions here.
Okay.
Just some real quick ones. Just kind of first thing that pops to mind, kind of thing. So I'm gonna ask you the hardest question you've ever been asked in your life. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
It's no, absolutely not. What is your favorite kind of taco?
Oh, have you ever had a hibiscus taco?
Whoa.
Jamaica taco? No.
Yeah, it's really good. In fact, if you make Jamaica tea, you can just reuse the stewed tea leaves and make the taco. If you want to be mindful of finding another life out of your food, you can steep the tea, the hibiscus flowers, add the sugar later, otherwise you'll have kind of sugary tacos. And then once you steep the tea, you get a pan, put some butter, oil, and you just cook them up with some spices, and it's really good.
Nice.
You have the most interesting answers.
Thanks.
She's also a pescatarian, so I knew there was limited answers there.
But that was, that I feel like that was just like our local taco stand that inspired me on that. They made
Nice.
that, and I was like, this is amazing. So
That
I
sounds
asked them
cool.
how they made it, and it was great.
It's pretty cool.
I do have a follow-up question that somebody asked. So we know the new Harry Potter series is coming to Max. Do you have any advice for the new young Ginny Weasley?
You know what? No.
Kind of like what you were saying. Like,
I-
what advice would you give?
Honestly, I wouldn't say anything. I know that sounds like, I think the beauty for us when we stepped into those roles is we made them what they were for us. We didn't like project too far ahead. We didn't overthink. I mean, like, honestly, the beauty of being a 9-year-old kid is you are present. You're unaware of too much judgment or too much worry. Like, you're just showing up. And I think that's a really, really perfect place to show up to a role. Like, I'm sure they are way more nervous than we were, because when we stepped onto the films, it was very early in the world of Harry Potter. So I wouldn't want to like fill anyone's head with confusing, conflicting opinions, apart from just like to go with what they trust, not what we think, because we're all wanting a new interpretation of these characters.
Good. This will be on the internet, so hopefully they hear that.
Okay, good.
But no, that's a really good answer.
It is. It is very
I like
good.
that, discovering who they are.
Yeah,
And who
it's
the
like,
character is.
you got
That's
it,
good.
you know? It's fine.
That's smart.
Yeah, Bonnie's just profound. It's just to begin with all
It's
here.
those hibiscus tacos.
Yeah, it is the hibiscus
Yeah,
sauce.
yeah.
That
We
might
know
just
what
be
you're
what makes her
thinking
smarter
about.
than
I'm
me
like,
in
I'm
general.
hungry now.
Yeah. Again, hard question.
Okay.
Okay. Who wins in a fight? Lord Voldemort or Darth Maul?
Lord Voldemort, for sure. I gotta be, true to my world, even if he is a terrible person.
So what's next for you? What any projects that are not under NDA that you can throw out there for everybody?
Okay, so yeah, a few things. So I have the show that's coming out in July.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on another show, kind of similar, but for a much, 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 much younger audience. Being a mum, trying to write a book that I've been working on for a very long time, which is actually a fiction, which is fun. So hopefully I'll sit down to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have copies of Go Gently here?
I do not. I did not bring any. I know. When it first came out, I used to sometimes bring copies. But yeah, I must admit, I got lazy. I didn't bring any in my suitcase.
But you can probably go get it.
You can get it on everywhere, your local bookstore or the global, Amazon.
Yeah. There you go.
So aside from your table over here, where can everybody follow you, learn more about you, just like, if they want to follow on all of the profound things that Bonnie Wright is doing?
Yeah, I hope to keep going with the profound things. I pretty much, I'm a millennial. I'm just on Instagram. Haven't really taken on TikTok very well. So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's This Is Be Right, and I pretty much share everything I'm working on there. And yeah, I'll be telling you then when the show's coming out and other projects I'm working on. So just go there. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
This
Thank you
was
so
so
much.
fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Bonnie Wright.
Distance nerding.